I'm Dr. Bessie Stewart-Banks. I'm a resource strategist. I own two businesses, a nonprofit Eastern Banks Learning Life Center, as well as a publishing company, which is called Conscious of the Heart Publishing LLC. And I have one in the making, another business that is, which I won't speak on at this time, but it will help you in regards to your journey in being a business owner, author, speaker, basically whatever you want to do in life. I'm here to help you. And joining me today also is Ms. Natalie Warren, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, Bessie. Hi, everybody. My name is Natalie Warren. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm actually a mindset coach. And so what I get to do that I love is really supporting women entrepreneurs who are struggling to put themselves out there, help them to increase their visibility so they can ideally attract all of the ideal clients that they were wanting, and they can do more of what they love. So I'm excited about this conversation that we're about to have.
Okay, so today's topic is rewind, rethinking the way we do business. And also, even though that is the title of it, the rewind is also how to reset in life. Because, you know, what we're going through as a human race is all over the world. You know, many people are saying, how are they going to make it in life? So today's discussion, we're going to touch upon that, not only just for those who are in business, but as a human being trying to make it in this chaotic world. So as I mentioned before, we're all dealing with the COVID-19 and what it has placed upon all collectively. So Natalie, one question I've been posing to myself, and I like to pose even to those who are listening to us, is what does doing business in the 21st century look like with what we're going from your perspective?
Oh, since obviously all of the changes that came about over the last month, I would say what it looks like is really us all making a pivot. We have ultimately been forced to pivot, which I hope we talk about more in this conversation. It hasn't been all bad, but I think it's necessary. And so in this season, it's really for that entrepreneur to really say, where do I need to shift in my business? What's relevant right now? Because that's another thing that I hope we talk more about, how to be relevant in this time where things are different than they were in January. But I think that's how we start. We start with the pivot. We start with reassessing what's necessary or needed right now, and how can we meet the need the most for the people that we serve.
That's one thing I find interesting, because even though we're going through this now, in my dissertation, and that's been 5 years ago, but I never thought that even the things that I did my research on back then would be prevalent and relevant today. And I spoke about doing a paradigm shift. And that was basically dealing with leaders and being that we're all leaders in our profession and our households to a certain extent. We have to have the mindset of how we're going to continue with operating. We have to change, in which I know you know this, a lot is our mindset. How are we going to think? It's like you have to take yourself and thinking outside the box. Absolutely. To even be relevant today. And I'm finding that more so with my my nonprofit. We had a big event this past week, and we were scheduled to do it 3 days where we were bringing different local communities together. And we do have 5 partnerships we formed in the last year. And we were supposed to come together and galvanize and bring all our resources together and do this big event. And then 2 weeks before, our sponsors, we got a big email saying we had to pivot, as you just explained. And they gave you 3 options. How are you going to continue your service, but not only continue it, but how are you going to deliver it? Wow. So the person that's working with we had to come up with a strategic, how we're going to do it. So we made a decision to do all social media, being that that's the only way we could do it. So we had to go on all our platforms and stream it that way. And it was a little taxing because in a certain extent, I really don't like talking a whole lot, but I had to force myself, which I've been getting positive feedback that a lot of people have been learning from what the information that I delivered. And so that's one thing I believe that a lot of business people are going to have to come to grips with. The things that they did not like doing, they're going to have to come to the realization these are the things you're going to have to do it if you're going to stay in business, if you're going to stay relevant.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think your last point is so important because whether there was COVID-19 or not, in order for our businesses to grow, we got to do some things we're not normally doing or we want to do, and we got to stay relevant. And I think that's a lesson that is just related to business in general. And if you're not willing to do that, even out of this season, your business is impacted. So the fact that you said that, I was thinking, yeah, that's something you just have to be able to do as a business owner.
That is. And so as we're talking about staying relevant and staying in business in regards to what we're dealing with, as all business owners are faced with, is one thing I've been thinking about for a couple of days is the business model, how you can shift. And I just want to clarify for those who may not know the difference between a business model and a business plan. So they just, they understand the business model is, make sure I'm looking at my notes. It describes how and when your business. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to give you an example. It's just, say for instance, my publishing company as an example. So how we deliver our what we're doing, which with that, on that end, that would be the business plan. What we're doing, we're a publishing company. How we operate, our finances. So that part in regards to the business plan, it shows us how, when, what, where. The business model, on the other hand, is telling you how and when in regards to your finances as far as your operation. So I just want people to understand the difference between the two. But on that part, I don't want to go too deep. We'll say that for another day, another time. But I find out that the business model in regards to, as far as me and my businesses, is that we are more so now on a lot of social media and utilizing my email and as doing a whole lot of things that I thought I would not do. And that's dealing with also, and that's another part is marketing, pushing that out. So I truly believe that now we have to start thinking more in depth of our business model and how we're going to take what we're doing and how we can transform it and revitalize it in such a way that, as we go back to our previous discussion, remain relevant, remain competitive, and put it in such a way that we still keeping the clients that we have, as well as gaining new ones. So how do you feel in regards to your business model as a therapist?
Mm-hmm. And I was going to speak to that. So thank you for that. So for a therapist, and I'll speak also as a coach, but as a therapist, the business model could look like, do I do one-on-one sessions? Do I do group therapy? Because I can do trainings, I can do speaking. So my business model could look like that. As a coach, I also think about it as well. So my business model could be one-on-one coaching. It could be a group program. It could be a membership program. There's many ways to do my business model. So obviously, as we're shifting my business model for the coaching program, coaching side, I could talk about whether I'm doing more group programs. And so there are more people, obviously, who are wanting to be more visible and put themselves out there, because we know that is what's going to help you in the season. We're not in front of people as much. We're not able to have speaking engagements where you can get new leads or new clients face to face. So being able to put yourself out there is important. And so that business model has shifted some to doing more of the group programming versus actually one-on-ones as I would have done prior. And so that's just an example of what it looks like for the therapy as well as a coach.
So in regards, you've made one point that I'm devising plans now as we speak. And that's one part in regards to the publishing part I remember some time ago, you and I had a discussion, and you asked me the question, well, how was my business is doing? I said, one, it's like, it feels like it's at a standstill. It's like all of a sudden it just came at a halt. Mm-hmm. And I said, wait a minute. I have been working on something, and I did a training about probably 2 months ago, but I never went back to it. So I thought about when I was writing and doing all this, preparing myself. I say, okay, that program is a membership program. So I had to rethink, a lot of people are dealing with some serious economics, dealing with, some are unemployed, some are on furlough, some, don't know when the next paycheck is coming. So I had to change it in such a way that, yes, it's a membership, but can I do something that will help people continuously, continue with their goal in becoming a published author, but also in the duration as time goes on and things get better, make it in such a way as it would be affordable, something like give them a deferment. So 3 months free membership, but then let them know after that gradually you're going to have to pay a little something. Mm-hmm. So make it still economical, feasible for them to continuously, be a part of the program, but also in the future that I will profit. Absolutely. Not I, the business, but the business itself. So that is something that I've really been thinking about. And I hope those who are listening to us will understand that that's some of the things they're going to have to do. Thinking ways creatively. And that brings into play with the mind mapping. Putting that idea up front and just thinking, how can I better position myself as far as an organization or a business where I can still gain clients or business, whatever business you're in, industry that is, and continuously grow and getting the word out that we are still here, we are still operating, and we're still here to serve you.
Absolutely. And we've seen this really big in the fast food restaurant industries, right? Where they have made pivots to still serve their customers, but it might look like a mobile app that you can order and they bring it out, or it may look like a to-go going through the drive-through but not coming inside. So to your point, we all have to be thinking that way. Like, how can I still serve the client in the way that they need and still be able to run my business? And obviously we all are in business to make a profit. So I think that's an important piece that you brought up about how does that look? What does that look like? And a lot of times we don't even know what that need is. And I always challenge myself as well as others is ask your audience. Like, if you're not sure, ask them what they need right now. And providing that. And so you talked about freebies. I know one of the things that I remember my clients probably need is focus, because with all that has happened, like, I know for myself, I was all over the place, just trying to adopt and adapt to a change that happened in a few days that flipped my whole schedule around. But being able to have something that kept me focused and kept me moving forward, because obviously we still want our businesses to move forward in spite of what's happening. And so offering those free services, I wanted to say yes, yes, yes. Being able to say this is something that will benefit them to keep them in business with you